The Executioner's Song, 1979, is a true crime novel by the American author Norman Mailer. The book recounts the real-life story of Gary Gilmore, who, after murdering a gas station attendant and a motel manager over the course of 2 days, became the first prisoner executed in the United States following the Supreme Court's reinstatement of the death penalty earlier that year. While structured as a novel, the work draws heavily on extensive interviews with those connected to the crime. In 1980, The Executioner's Song was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for fiction. In April 1976, Gary Gilmore is released on parole from the Marion State Penitentiary in Illinois at the age of 35. Mailer begins his account at this moment, but then flashes back to Gilmore's earlier imprisonment at the Oregon State Penitentiary, where he had been sent 14 years prior after convictions for armed robbery and assault. Gilmore emerges as a notably violent inmate, involved in prison riots and administered Prolixin, an antipsychotic intended to control his aggression. Several of Mailer's interviewees suggest that his prolonged use of Prolixin may have contributed to his later murderous impulses. Still, it is evident that Gilmore's tendency toward violence predates his incarceration in Oregon. Upon release from Marion, Gilmore is sent to Provo, Utah, to live with his cousin, Brenda Nickel, appointed as his parole sponsor. Brenda's father, Vern, employs Gilmore as an assistant in his shoe repair shop and allows him to live in their home with Vern and his wife, Ida. For perhaps the first time as an adult, Gilmore appears to make a sincere attempt at honest work, keeping away from crime. Yet frustration soon sets in. He becomes bitter at his inability to instantly master cobbling and begins drinking heavily, often resorting to shoplifting liquor or stealing money from Vern to support his habit. Though Vern is too gentle to confront him, Brenda presses Gilmore to find new employment and accommodations. Soon, Gilmore lands a job with an insulation company, whose generous boss sets him up with a new place to live and a down payment on a Mustang. The car draws the attention of Nicole Barrett Baker, a 20-year-old widow with 2 children and a Mustang identical to Gilmore's. Their relationship is intensely passionate but deeply toxic. When not engaging in fervent, animalistic sex, they quarrel with equal intensity. On one occasion, Gilmore goes on a drinking spree that ends in Idaho, where he is arrested for assaulting a homosexual man and stealing his car. Mailer highlights the strikingly lenient attitude of Gilmore's parole officer, Montcourt, who, swayed by Gilmore's charm, arranges his release. Mailer argues persuasively that, without Court's intervention, Gilmore's later victims might have survived. Dissatisfied with the Mustang, Gilmore sets his sights on a white pickup truck, persuading the owner to release it on the condition that he raise $400 within a week. To obtain the money, Gilmore robs an all-night gas station at gunpoint, bringing along Nicole's 12-year-old sister, April, already a hardened drug user. The murder of the attendant, Max Jensen, occurs execution-style, leaving April largely unfazed. Less than 24 hours later, Gilmore robs the city center motel, killing manager Benny Bushnell. While fleeing, he accidentally shoots himself in the hand, catching the attention of a nearby gas station attendant who notes the truck's license plate. Within hours, aided by Brenda's tip, the police apprehend Gilmore without further incident. This sequence unfolds in late July 1976, just 3 months after his release. Following a 2-day trial, Gilmore is convicted and sentenced to death, becoming the first inmate sentenced to capital punishment since the informal nationwide moratorium of 1967. Rejecting appeals, he chooses to face execution swiftly, valuing dignity over delay. Despite interventions from the ACLU, the NAACP, Gilmore's mother, and various Utah officials, none eager to represent the state executing its first prisoner since the moratorium, he is executed by firing squad on January 17, 1977, at 8:07 a.m. The book concludes with Gilmore's final act of defiance. According to his wishes, his attorneys scatter his ashes from an airplane over Spanish Fork, an act illegal in Utah. The London Review of Books hailed The Executioner's Song as a work of genius, praising its scope, depth, and restraint. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.